Marcus and I were called to shoot and live stream a socially distanced wedding. Yes, a pandemic wedding. Afterwards, we live streamed a discussion with our colleagues and friends about it, and we edited it into 2 parts. In part 1, we talk about what a socially distanced wedding means and how it was shooting and live streaming one. In part 2, we talk about safety. How safe did we feel, as well as our thoughts about what extra steps can be taken to keep people safe. Welcome to the Village Camera Nerd, or Camera Nerds. We actually just shot a wedding recently, me and Marcus Valerio, and we wanted to talk a little bit about it. Let's introduce the team that shot the wedding, which is us, with Marcus Valerio.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, so first initially I was called to third-party contract a wedding shoot. The call was for, hey, are you willing to shoot a socially distanced wedding? There are 10 people, and it was a Jewish wedding, and it was going to be in the backyard of a home, just around a home, actually. What was the first thing that went through your mind when I asked you, are you willing to shoot a socially distanced wedding?
Kind of shocked that the people wanted to do it still. Let's still have the weddings, because I'm still having weddings being postponed until next year or canceled. So I was kind of surprised that you even had a wedding that was happening.
And they also wanted live streaming. So this is like double entendre of socially distanced coverage. So we have the live stream and also the 2-camera shooter putting together an actual film. So 5 people just for the photo video team. In that way, it's like double the number of originally saying that there are 10 people. That's something to think about when you're thinking socially distanced wedding that still has professional crew on it. This is the backyard in which the chuppah was going to be set up. And then this is where the dinner's going to be. So it's not necessarily socially distanced for the guests, but the crew was going to do their best to keep 6 feet away if we were planted anywhere. Of course, the servers are going to have to get close to people. And then this is where the tish, I think, or bedekin was going to happen. So there's some space here in order to do that.
The day went overall relatively normal, how you kind of expect a wedding to be like. It was a little strange seeing everyone with masks on and trying to communicate, because it does kind of muffle your voice, and everyone trying to avoid each other. Like you see someone coming towards you, you're trying to walk out of the way. But after getting used to that, it went pretty smoothly and went relatively normally.
Smoothly for you. The live stream was a totally other thing, but I don't want to interrupt.
I've shot small intimate weddings before, but this brought it to a whole new level. But it still had that same kind of feeling. So if you shot a 50 to 100 person wedding, it just feels smaller in a smaller venue, it'd probably feel the same. These quarantine weddings.
I have shot as small as 20 people, I think. So this is a new record in terms of size of wedding. Overall, it's shooting a wedding. It is shooting a wedding, and all the usual wedding challenges. About, oh, we got to get here in time. Wait a second, there's something happening over there. There wasn't a first dance. There wasn't really a grand entrance. I guess you could call it a chill entrance, and everything else was speeches. We had a guest room set for us, so that was appreciated. This is the beginning of the day. It helped that the bride didn't actually want to get her prep coverage. It's not good for if you want a fully covered film, a wedding film, but hey, socially distanced, right? Let me show you some more images of it. During the photo session, you of course could stay a distance, just to get the shot, you wanna stay a distance and give people their space. And then here's Marcus keeping a distance as well. But that to the right there is the photographer. I was at times within 3 feet of her. Here we are, completely socially distanced over here with our PPE. Looks like Marcus is happy or something. And then there's me. There's me with my PPE. And then here we are shooting a photo session. This is definitely distanced over here.
Crowded out there. So I was like, oh, maybe I can get a cool shot through the window.
Here's my little socially distanced coverage of the speeches over here. And you could see just what I was shooting. I covered up the faces over there for privacy. And there is the wireless XLR system going into the H6 to capture what was on going through the handheld mic. There's a blurry shot of Marcus. Also, I believe that's about 6 feet away from the first person. Yeah, the zoomed in shot won't really tell you so well. And then also a good distance away, there's a newborn right there in the center of the shot, in which people were very careful. Everybody was very mindful, especially because of the high risk age group people plus the newborn. Overall, other than the live stream hecticness, it was a relatively easy day. Is it ever easy shooting a wedding? I don't know. Anybody ever have a easy wedding? Yeah, I don't know.
Each wedding has its own challenges. Yeah.
Shot a wedding a month ago, supposedly socially distanced. Not really though. 20 people, mostly family, very few masks. Colin and I shot it with N95 since people weren't masking. Oh man, dude, yeah, actually, there a lot more wedding crewing requests are happening in the Facebook groups. I don't know, you probably saw that too, Marcus. But I'm just thinking, not all of them are going to be this socially distanced as the ones we got. You know?
Yeah, this wedding in particular felt very safe. Everyone was being very respectful with masks and trying to, like I said, avoiding each other as much as possible. And I don't know if that's going to be every wedding.
It's an event, man. It's an event. How do you have control of what other people do? Katie says, "Ooh, live stream is super smart right now." Yeah. Actually, a lot of mini ceremonies. If people just want courthouse weddings or something like that, I think they're doing, live streaming. We got one, yay! Jason says, I may have missed it, but what equipment did you use to live stream the wedding? So we used a Mevo Start, which does not have a screen on it, so I had to also mount a phone that's connected wirelessly to it to see what was happening. Unfortunately, with all the other wireless signals going on, the phone cut out, but the stream kept on going. And since we were moving around a whole lot, I was like, I'm not even going to ask for an Ethernet cable, meaning that our audio from the feed of the ceremony had to be wireless as well. So when it came to the time of the ceremony, we plugged in the Rode Link Go. You know, it had a lot of cutouts. So we're like, okay, I guess they have speakers and we just use the internal mics. And after that, it did work.
The only thing I remember from the day was that you had an issue with the link. Like the link expired, or when you had to restart it and you had to send out a new link last minute to all the guests. What exactly happened there?
Yeah, that was annoying. So if you create an event on YouTube outside of the Mevo app, some RTMP issue happens in which then the Mevo can't connect to it. It's more of a YouTube issue though. That's
live streaming, live broadcast, there's always issues. You know?
Yeah.
It's like 100x times issues from regular filmmaking.
I was not super happy with how the Mevo did amidst a wedding. Like, if you bring a Mevo to professionally live stream a wedding, I don't think you could charge that much for it. I would recommend actually maybe even going with a Teradek VDU Go. So here's the VDU Go. Looks like $1,500 for a core system, if you're just going to be connecting to Wi-Fi or Ethernet. But then there is the more pro, the Deluxe, which has additional Wi-Fi connections and can connect to a cellular signal if you have a SIM card that's compatible with it.
You said that it's kind of expensive, but I think it's probably a good investment for this coming few years because it might be the selling point and it might be the new normal for videographers to offer live streaming.
But if you show up with an actual camera rig with such a robust, trustworthy thing, then you could charge, what you might usually charge for, wedding video services. Did you live stream the wedding ceremony and the wedding toast? Not the toasts. They said that, we don't need the toast. So there was no PA, there was no DJ for recording the toasts. So Marcus brought his handheld mic and I brought my wireless XLR system and we recorded the toast that way. But it was kind of weird because it's just that table. People were wondering why am I speaking into this thing?
Across the table, they can hear you perfectly fine without a microphone. So why am I speaking to this microphone?
But it was kind of funny at some point. I think the siblings were talking to me about this is weird. You sure are you getting me? And it's like, yeah. Katie has another question here. Did you sanitize the microphone after every speaker? The best we can.
Yes.
I brought Clorox wipes, and if they weren't handing it off right to another speaker, after they put it down, wipe that sucker down, And then afterwards, that little windscreen, we just squeeze some Clorox, into there. Yeah. How was it shooting with the PPE? Yeah, you know me.
Well, I brought one of these. Normally, day to day, I wear a mask that's a little bit thicker that my mom made. So they're reusable and you can wash them and stuff. But I decided to wear because I went to the store and bought one of these. These are thinner and I thought it would be more breathable and it wouldn't be as hot, but it was still just as hot and I was sweating bullets. I had to take some like breather breaks, and I would go off to the corner of like the lawn and just like pull it down and have like 2 or 3 breaths and then put it back on and go back in.
I had no complaints about wearing a mask with day-to-day activities, but after shooting the wedding, it's like, okay, I have some complaints about masks for when you're working and you're on the go and just like...
I have a new appreciation for all the people working at restaurants who are cooking and have the mask on all day for like an 8 or 10 hour shift in a hot kitchen.
Yeah, especially doctors, you know, new respect for them. They
yeah.
can barely
Always had
breathe.
respect for them too.
I have a Batman mask. I should have brought that, like Marcus had a prop, but yeah, it's nice and thick. I feel pretty safe with it. Georgia made it for me, my wife, for those of you that don't know me. So, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna rock the Batman mask. I'm gonna be the coolest guy there, as long as they don't ask me to take it off because it's too cool. And then, but at some point, which is very early in the day, I think the first hour or so, I started to get lightheaded. What actually complicated things is when it gets damp, you know, because this is fabric, it becomes harder to breathe through. I started to almost see stars. So I would say, like, people don't bring in like really thick masks, man, when you're shooting a wedding. That's one pro tip I'll give to you right now. So, you know, took out my backup mask, which I know is not ideal. This PPE is actually not that recommended because it has a little vent, but that helped me not pass out. So I exhausted the CO2 out. It kept me cooler. But yeah, masks could be a complication, man. It definitely can. So that wraps up our discussion of how it all went down. To know when part 2, where we discuss safety, comes out, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.